Good morning, orange, yellow, and purple stars. I say it every single week, and I'm going to say it again today. I really miss you, and I can't wait to see you again soon. But we're going to go ahead right now and jump into our lesson for today. If you don't have your Bible, go get it and turn to John chapter 10. But let's talk about what we've already learned. We are doing the I am statements of Jesus, and each of the I am statements remind us that Jesus is God. And it also reminds us of who Jesus is. What does he do? So we have learned that Jesus is the bread of life. So every single need that we have can be filled up by Jesus. We have learned that he's the light of the world, so that he can light up our paths when we feel like we may not know where to go or things seem dark. He also says that he is the gate, that he protects us, and that he allows us into his kingdom. And today we're going to learn the next I am statement. And like I said, that's in John chapter 10, and we'll start in verse 11. And it says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for his sheep. The worker who is paid to keep the sheep is different from the shepherd who owns them. So when the worker sees a wolf coming, he runs and leaves the sheep alone. Then the wolf attacks the sheep and scatters them. The man runs away because he is only a paid worker. He does not really care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, says Jesus. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. I give my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not in this flock here. I must bring them also. They will listen to my voice, and there will be one flock and one shepherd. So that passage has a lot in it. So let's start with the sheep. A lot of times in the Bible, when we see mention of sheep, it often means that it's talking about people. So we're going to learn some facts about sheep. We're going to learn 3 facts. And our first fact is that sheep are kind of dirty. Have you ever been to a petting zoo or a farm and seen sheep, like where they lay and sleep and eat? It's not very clean. And whatever the sheep lays down on gets stuck into its fur. And the sheep has no way of cleaning itself. It doesn't know how to brush the wool and get the dirt and leaves and gunk off of them. And there are certain type of insect that really love to hang out on the top of a sheep's head. And these insects can come into the sheep's eyes and end up blinding them. And something that a shepherd would do is put oil on the sheep's head, and that repels the insects. So we have sheep who are kind of dirty. They don't know how to get clean. But if they have a good shepherd, then that's going to help them a lot. So let's think about us, since the Bible, when it talks about sheep, it also is meaning us. Can we clean ourselves? I know that a lot of you are probably washing your hands a lot right now. So that's something we can do to clean ourselves. We could take baths, we could take showers, we can clean our clothes. But there's one thing that we cannot clean on ourselves, and that's our heart. So what do we do when we can't clean our heart? We have to have Jesus come in and clean that. And just like the sheep need a good shepherd to clean them, we need Jesus to come and clean us. So fact number 2 about sheep is not only can they not clean themselves, they're not very smart either. They will follow almost anything and wander off. And when they do that, it can be really dangerous. If they follow other sheep rather than their shepherd, they could end up going to the edge of a cliff and that's dangerous. So they don't really think for themselves. They just kind of follow what's in front of them. And if it's not the shepherd, then that is dangerous. So if we're talking about sheep and us, how are we like that? Do you ever follow someone who's not making good choices and making bad decisions? Sometimes we do that so that we can be liked or feel popular, feel cool. And, you know, sometimes it's being rude to people that gets us that attention to do that. But that's not a good choice. That's kind of moving us into a wrong direction. So how do we make the right choices in that? Because we can make right decisions, but a lot of times we need our good shepherd. We need Jesus to kind of help us get right back to where we need to be. And so if you are in a time where you're like, uh-oh, I really want to do this thing over here, but it wouldn't be a great thing to do, but I know I should do this, it's best to stop and take a breath and talk to Jesus about it, because Jesus will help you to make the right decision. So you don't have to be the sheep on the edge of the cliff. Fact number 3. We have talked about how sheep can't clean themselves. They can't think for themselves. And they also have no idea of direction. They are directionally challenged. They can think they're going one way when they're really going another. And Jesus talks about this in Luke 15. If a man has 100 sheep and one of them gets lost, what will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go search for the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders. When he arrives, he will call together his friends and neighbors, saying, "Rejoice with me, because I have found my lost sheep." In the same way, there is more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and haven't strayed away. So sheep, not having a sense of direction and going the wrong way, if their shepherd is not watching, then they're in danger, then they're lost. But this says that Jesus goes and finds the one sheep. He is a good shepherd who finds a sheep. And a good shepherd back in those days would have gone and done that. They would have left their sheep and gone to find the lost one. And so this is what Jesus does for us. When we start to wander away from him, he comes after us and he carries us back into the fold. And then he celebrates when we're back and we're right with him in our relationship. Now imagine if the shepherd didn't come after that lost sheep. A sheep doesn't know how to protect himself. It doesn't have claws or big scary teeth, doesn't even have like a bark or a growl. So it has no way to protect itself. So if it wanders off and the shepherd doesn't go after him, it's doomed. It's dangerous. And that's kind of like us. When we wander away from Jesus, we're not able to think like Jesus or find the right direction. And we can't protect ourselves. And so we're kind of like the sheep, aren't we? We learned that sheep need their shepherd to live and to be safe. We need our shepherd too. Jesus promises us life with all of these I am statements. They all include that he will give us life. So that's what we need with Jesus, and that's what we get with Jesus. In our passage, Jesus says that he has given up his life for his sheep. Jesus did that on the cross. But he says that he did that so that we could live. Jesus knows you inside and out. And he also says that you can know him. But how do we do that? How do we know Jesus? This is something else that I say every single week. You can read your Bible, you can pray, and you can talk with people about Jesus. Those are the 3 big things for knowing the heart of Jesus and who he is Whether you have a Jesus Storybook Bible or another Bible, all the words in there point to who Jesus is, from the very beginning of the Bible to the very end of the Bible. So I encourage you, step into the Bible, read it, find the joy in that. Maybe there are things that you won't understand, but Jesus will help you to understand. There are things that I still don't understand that I feel like Jesus will one day help me to know. So do that. Read your Bible. Pray. Jesus will talk to you in prayer. He will be there. He will listen. And also talk with people. It is so fun to hear people talk about what God is doing in their life. But you have to look for him sometimes. Sometimes it's not great big things that God is doing, but sometimes it's just the little things. Every time you make the right choice or you do something to love somebody, that's Jesus in there, in your heart, moving. So that's exciting. And I want to hear about those things. And other people want to hear about those things. So talk with your moms and dads, pray with them, read the Bible with them, because it's just so much fun. So take some time this week and do those things. And I would love to hear any of your God stories. If you have them, you can email me. If there is something that God does in your life, email me. I want to hear it and celebrate that with you. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.